Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another video. Today's video is totally different than my normal content, but we're talking about something that you may have been seeing on social media recently, and that's the Dallas Cowboys Cheerleaders and the shows which have been created about them. It's July. If you were around in June, you may have seen the premiere of America's Sweethearts on Netflix. This comes after 16 seasons of Dallas Cowboys Cheerleaders making the team on CMT, which is country music television, which I had never heard of until I started watching the show. So I want to talk a little bit about both shows, compare them, talk about what I like and dislike about each one of them, and then also just introduce you to the world of Dallas Cowboys Cheerleaders if you've never heard of them before. So it's really, really fantastic. So let's go ahead and get the party started. So if you had any questions about whether or not I was a true fan of the Dallas Cowboys Cheerleaders, I'm in the show's Facebook page, or the fan group Facebook page, where every single day someone talks about the show, whether it's Netflix or CMT. Do I care about the Dallas Cowboys? Absolutely not. I don't even watch NFL football, but my dad does. But I've never really cared to watch football. Regardless, I just like the story of the girls and also the people involved in the NFL cheerleader situation. Fun fact, actually, when I was in college, I had to read a book called Hidden America, and one of the chapters in Hidden America was about NFL cheerleaders, and it was the most fascinating thing to me. And when I watch the show back now, both the new show and the old show, I literally kind of in my mind revisit the storytelling in that book. And I think to myself, wow, this is so similar. And I think it may be across the board for the entire NFL cheerleader group. So it's pretty cool. All right, so let's start with a show overview. Dallas Cowboys Cheerleaders making the team. It first premiered in 2006. Gives us an inside look at what it takes to literally make the team. And we get to see all the tears, all the emotions, everything that really goes into it. But it's from the perspective more so of the organization's leadership through the eyes of Kelly and Judy. America's Sweethearts, on the other hand, really is a fresh take on the original show, but it talks more with the candidates and candidates who have retired, which was an interesting take for sure. But I don't know if that will continue on for season 2, if there is a season 2. I feel like that just was kind of laying the groundwork, basically. And you really got to know the girls more personally. And the cool thing is Reese was from Jacksonville, Florida. So I'm like, woo, we love that. But it really blended the girls' personal stories with the high stakes of training camp. And I mean, these girls travel from all around the United States and even around the world to try out for this team. America's Sweethearts was also released in June of this year on Netflix. And it really took on the cheer style of the show because it was obviously produced by the same director as Cheer, or I think something related to the original Cheer show. Same person who produced it or directed it, one of those two. So now let's talk about the drama and the competition. There were dramatic moments in each show. Crying, tears of joy, tears of happiness, with them being invited to training camp, lots in between. And the thing what drew me into the show originally back 5 years ago when I started watching was that it was similar to America's Next Top Model, but it was way less toxic and way less drama that we get to see, at least. And, there was so much fighting and drama in America's Next Top Model, and it really made you think to yourself, wow, women treat other women this way? #trash. Whereas with this show, you really never saw any of that. And I don't think either, based on what we've been shown, that the organization is like that at all, because all you hear about is how classy and elegant these women are and what they represent through the Dallas Cowboys brand. It was definitely an eye-opener. And it was a refreshing take for me when I stopped watching Top Model and I started watching this. Regarding personal connections in the show, in both shows you see this. You see some of the story of the girls who are trying out, but you also see the bond between the cheerleaders, with the veterans and the rookies or training camp candidates, and they all stay behind, when one of them has to go and talk to Kelly and Judy in their office. And I don't feel like in the Netflix show we saw that as much, but from the CMT show we saw that a lot more. But the personal connections were just really great in both shows, and I can't really say whether or not I like one more than the other. For production and style, the only really difference between the two shows was that, well, one, the color grading. Number two, as a video editor, I'm like, wow, they really color graded DCC making the team compared to this Netflix documentary, or maybe it was vice versa. You really saw the same sort of style in terms of what was shown, but you really also saw a more documentary style with this show on Netflix, because it was definitely more like Cheer. And also in general, it kind of gave off the vibe of that Bama Rush series or documentary that came out on Netflix a while back, but also not, because I feel like that was more like of an expose, and this show was definitely not it. I mean, don't get me wrong, what's in the press right now is how much these cheerleaders are paid, and there's conversations surrounding that, and also what they go through as dancers to be on the team. But like I said, the difference between the two was really more of a documentary style than anything. Personally, I preferred the CMT show because there's more seasons for me to watch. I mean, I am not afraid to just turn that on while I'm cooking dinner and just fire it up and watch that all day, because it's a good show, and like, you follow these girls after they've been a cheerleader, and it's really fascinating to watch, and they're like such incredible women, and it's like really inspirational, inspiring. But while I preferred the show on CMT, I like the Netflix one because, number one, you don't have to wait for all the seasons to air, or the episodes to air rather, and number two, it's all available right there for anybody to watch, anybody who has a Netflix account. Personally, I didn't even have a Netflix account. I know you're thinking, Sarah, how do you not have Netflix? To me, it wasn't really worth it because I already have all the shows that were available on Netflix through iTunes, because I was that kid that literally bought iTunes shows. It's crazy. I actually have about 127 episodes of CMT making the team. So there's that. But in any case, overall, the shows were definitely different, but they were different in good ways. And I think this is a good direction for America's Sweethearts, and also in general for more NFL teams to potentially have their own documentary, like even the Jacksonville Jaguars cheerleaders or the Miami Dolphins cheerleaders. In fact, one of the points of the triangle, Kashera, she went on to now become head coach for the University of Miami, or not University of Miami, the Miami Dolphins, which is really cool. And it's really cool to watch. And like, when you think about what all these girls go through, they've been dancers, their entire life basically. And their one goal is to be on an NFL cheerleader. I do think it's interesting that there's some conversation around what they're paid, and like, they're like, well, it's so grueling, they should really be full time. But I mean, that goes back to like 2006, and like one of the legendary cheerleaders, Melissa Rycroft, who ended up being on Dancing with the Stars, she was working full time when she did it. It is doable. Is it right that they have to have a full-time job while being a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader? That's a question that, I mean, only we as the viewer can make an opinion of. There really is. Maybe there's a right answer in some people's minds, and maybe there's a wrong answer in others. But it was just really fascinating and overall fun to watch. So I hope this video has been helpful for you guys, and I don't know, if you're interested in watching it, definitely hit up Netflix and fire it up. And also Paramount Plus, you can watch, or what is it, that one I mentioned earlier about being able to watch it for free? I'll put it up here on the screen if I didn't mention it earlier, but I highly, highly recommend the show. I haven't watched America's Next Top Model in I don't know how long, and I just recently learned that I think it's still airing. I'm like, wow, like 20 something years now. Of course, Tyra's not doing it anymore, but it's just very interesting. The whole thing is very interesting to watch. And it's very, it's fun. And it's just a good show. And I will say, too, as an end note, DCC making the team was definitely, very reality TV style, whereas this show was very documentary style. And it really takes, to be able to sit through both. I like the reality TV much better than I do documentary, but the documentary was exceptionally well done. And I don't think, too, that the Dallas Cowboys Cheerleaders organization would have allowed a documentary to be made about the organization that would paint it in a bad light. And, of course, the press from the show, the press that the show's getting, the new show, definitely does paint it in a bad light in some ways, but it's creating conversations that are maybe important, It all depends. I mean, here we are. It's 2024. But with that being said, I'm going to close it out here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I tried to change it up a little bit with like the different places I'm sitting in my house when filming. I just figured it would make it more visually interesting. So if you like what I did here, definitely comment down below and say, yeah, go for it, or no, it was too much. But yeah, so with that being said, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.